Hi, I'm Andrew Clark, the Logistics Optimizer. This is another clip from the Access Group Fulfilment Forum, which I was on recently with Evan Poozy and Elton Brown, talking about warehousing and inventory management. So in this clip, I talk about the importance of a mobile workflow from the perspective of labour management within a business. So the big jump and the thing that many businesses struggle with that stops them scaling is the fact that all of the business knowledge rests in the heads of the staff. Now, you want well-trained, well-educated staff who really know your business. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. But what I am saying is that it can really hold you back if that's where the knowledge exists and it doesn't exist anywhere else. When you use mobile workflows and in digital systems, right, the big part of this whole industry 4.0 and digitization of businesses and things is that it's taking you from an operator dependence to system dependence. So you take the knowledge of how to run the business and you put it into a system so that anyone can follow it. And mobile workflows are just insanely good at actually helping operators perform processes accurately and repeatably. So that's what I talk about in this section today. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, so that probably again just walks us nicely towards the next thing, which is in talking about all of that, we're automating, we're improving, we're speeding things up, but there is still the human component, right? And the term human error is there for a reason. Particularly when we're being asked to sort of rush things and move quicker, as you say, pick potentially more in a more complex environment where I'm doing multiple orders at the same time. How are businesses today focusing on, getting people into the warehouse, giving them good training, and then supporting them with, as we've just talked about, some of these intuitive automated systems?
Yeah, well, another leap, right, in that from moving from a paper system to an automated directed mobile workflow is that you're actually able to take your procedural what might be written processes that people have to remember, right? That you've got to train people into how to do things, how to remember where things are, what to do with particular items when you go to pick them or when you go to pack them. So you take that skill that is essentially your business knowledge, the way your operating model for the business. So you encode that now into your mobile workflow so that now the picker doesn't need to remember what they've just been taught. So you get a highly directive system, like having a supervisor in your ear, which is particularly important for people who are new or who are casual staff, because they don't know and they can't learn everything about your business in the 5 minutes of training that they get before they get given a piece of paper and told to go and find things and pick things, which is commonly what happens. Casuals come in, they get very little induction into the business and into the intricacies of the business, and they learn essentially by making mistakes. Yeah. So when you code that into your mobile workflow, essentially by telling people where to go, what to pick, you have special instructions during picking or packing so that people get alerted to remember to do things. And if you've got a proper bin location system in your warehouse, then it should take like 2 minutes to explain to someone how the bin numbering system works, and then they can find anything in the warehouse because they don't have to remember, these items are over there and those items are over in the back, and Joe got them in yesterday, you'll need to ask Joe where that is, right? Yeah. So all of that goes away because you're now tracking everything by bin, and you've got essentially a 3D map of the warehouse telling you where everything has been put. So now, instead of training people into the intricacies of your business and how we do things here, and it's different to the last warehouse you're at because we do things, now it's like, hey, all I need you to do is go and pick today because we're short on pickers. Here's how the picking process works. Let me run you through that. Here's how our bin system works. Here's a trolley, or here's a pallet and a forklift. Go start picking, right?
Yeah.
And so,
right?
Yeah. So now you've brought new people on board casual labour on board and you've got them up and running, and because the system is building in efficiency and accuracy into the process, but they start at, they get to a rate of speed and accuracy of an experienced person very quickly.
Yeah, and you and I had a pre-chat before today's session, and I think we'd entitled this session originally, something around the critical labour shortage in the market, and you sort of mentioned, not sure it's a critical labour shortage, but I wonder if it's actually sort of critical shortage of experienced labour and potentially experienced in your own specific warehouse with your products. That's the problem. And that's where the tools can potentially help reduce that dependency on skilled labour, or more importantly, let's say an experienced person in your own business world, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of businesses will, again, particularly e-commerce businesses, they'll rely on transient, what I call transient labour. So students, international students, often enough, who've come here and are looking for some part-time work. So they're coming into it. They might not have had any warehousing experience at all, but they might be perfectly smart enough people. So, but again, every business is complex, and so if you're going to use temporary labour and casual labour, you've got to have a way to get them up and running and efficient and accurate, right? Which is really important. Accurate very quickly. It doesn't eliminate the basic warehousing skills, right? So if you need to drive a forklift or an order picker, having those skills is obviously highly valuable. If you've got people who are going to work in a warehouse long term, having good warehousing skills is important. You've got to be able to count accurately. You have to kind of, it's physically can be quite demanding in some warehouses, so you need to be physically strong. So there is a set of basic warehousing skills, right, that I think are important, and so experience in warehousing really feeds into that. But it's the intricacies of the business which good systems and technology really help you mitigate, right? You've got to put some effort into building those systems and making sure you have good training in place. But if you do that, then you can get people up to speed very quickly on specific tasks. Yeah. And then, if they stay with you over time, you can go, okay, great, you learned to pick, or you can now do put away, or you can now do receiving. I'm going to get you doing some cycle counting now. So you can add on people's skills, but they only need to learn a little bit at a time instead of having to become an expert in the business, because each skill has been designed to be precisely aligned with what you're trying to achieve in the business.
Excellent. Thanks, Andrew. You mentioned there, accuracy, and accuracy has always been the pursuit of anyone working in a warehouse, because it's so expensive if I ship the wrong goods to the wrong person or the wrong place, because then it's got to come back and I've got to reprocess an order, etc. Maybe laying the foundation for session 2 in this series. Just a couple of sentences on what companies are pursuing at the moment on accuracy in picking and shipping from the warehouse.
Again, your barcode scanning is your primary driver of making sure you pick the right product, but that in most cases does not guarantee that your count will be accurate, right? Because if you've got to pick 5 or 10 things or 20 things, even worse, you're going to scan it once, and there are some systems that will force people to scan like 20 times, but that's people are not going to do that, right? They'll just scan the one product, the one barcode 20 times. So that counting is one of the things that is still an important. I won't call it a gap. There are strategies you need to take to mitigate that, and that can be things like, certainly in the e-commerce world, scan packing is one of the ways you do that. You can check weigh orders before they go out to make sure that the weight is correct. If your weight is correct, then probably nothing is missing. It's not a guarantee of accuracy, but it helps. People are doing video. I hesitate to use the word surveillance, but video monitoring of packing processes, right? To make sure that things have been packed accurately. So there's a variety of things that you can do to improve to make sure that things are accurate. And a lot of people, even just with basic warehouse management systems with simple scanning, are reporting well over 99% inventory accuracy and order picking accuracy. So even just the basics, without doing any of the fancier things, will get you extremely high accuracy, 99.5, 99.9. If at the high end, if you've got a really sharp operation and good people, you can do that kind of level. So you're close enough to 100% at that point that the minimal returns that you'll get will be a genuine surprise.